All right, guys. So today we are going to be continuing from where we stopped in our last session, which we talked about authentication. So basically, authentication is a way of giving your user, like, let's say, a little test for them to like prove that they are who they really say they are. So it can happen like in a way of maybe authenticating via their basic information like username and password or email address and password. Then in fact, you can still also do maybe some two-factor authentication, maybe after signing in with their phone number and password, you still show them another screen for them to like insert some particular or maybe some strings or numbers, maybe which you send to them, maybe to their email address or phone number. So yeah, that also is a way of authenticating a user. So today we're going to be looking at the authorization part. So basically, after a user logs in, of course, you send them, let's say you send the front end or you save their token somewhere. So their token is what you are going to be using to like authorize them the next time they are coming. So when they come the next time, or maybe after logging in, you want to redirect them to their maybe profile or homepage or something. So when you take them there, you send the token you issued out, you send it back to yourself or you retrieve it to use to validate the user. Okay, so you use the token to validate the user. So after like sending them the token, you get it, you decrypt it, you get whatsoever you saved within the token. So when you get it, you validate it. You try to use it, the stuff you get from it to fetch the user information from the database. And then finally, you send back the data you retrieved with their ID or maybe whatever means for using to identify them. So you send that back. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So the last part, I think we stopped at the user login page and we've been able to authenticate the user fine. So I think we even issued out a token to them. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. We have some people in the waiting room. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I've admitted some people. I don't know why it's failing to.
I also have.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Of course. It's fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Okay, so yeah, let me share my screen real quick if I haven't. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen now. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so good. Let me just quickly bring this guy up. So yeah, we use this little page to demonstrate the whole flow of the authentication part. So I want to check where, the last session we saved their information somewhere in the browser, so which is the local storage. So yeah, I think I've logged in before, so that's why I have my token here. So yeah, if you can see, I have a key called token and the value called bearer plus their weird token. Yeah, it's a very long string. So that's the work of JWT. I told you guys about it before. So yeah, so I've already, I've signed in before. So the idea is when you sign a user in, of course, you don't want to show them this login page again and the sign up page. You want to hide this page from them entirely and only show them the home page or maybe the profile or something. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my profile. So when I get there, my information gets retrieved, right? So you can see my last updated date is this. My account ID is this. Profile ID is here. And also my name and my email address is here. Also my password, well, this isn't a real password. Of course, you don't want to issue out a password when you are like, you don't want to like add a password to what you're sending out to the user to see. Because what you send out is what the front end is going to display to the user. In which case they don't need the password. So there's no need for you to send it out to them. So this isn't the real password. I just put this there just on random string. So of course this has a way of changing. You can also change the password. But then, well, for me, I used to think, okay, when you want to change a user's password, of course, the user needs to like provide their first password, their initial password. And then you give them a place to like type the new password and then confirm the new password before sending it out. Well, I don't really know if it's an old pattern, because some websites, when you hit the websites, their login or sign up page, sometimes you don't see confirm password. They just give you a password field and then like register you like that. Well, the goal is not to talk about all that. So yeah, I'm just going to go back to and please don't think that you have to build like a front-end page to demonstrate all this. For the assignments, of course, you don't need all this. I just did this for demonstration purposes. So let me open my Insomnia if I have that. So we'll see all these things now. Of course, it's functional now, but I'm going to delete some codes or take out some part of the code so we can all see how this was implemented. Okay, while that guy is opening, let me see if I can close this. All right, so this is the front end. Well, let me just close this code. I don't need to show you guys all this. Profile HTML, status, CSS. Okay, so like I mentioned, I can remember I mentioned it the other time. I mean, in the last session, that we are going to be creating a middleware called authorization. So this is the authorization middleware here. Get the user profile. So the idea is when the user is creating the account, you don't want to like have them, or you don't want to give them some kind of authorization, or you don't want to authorize them before, like during that process, because the user is just coming in freshly. They don't have any token. You don't have any of the information. So you allow them to create the account. After creating it, when they sign in, that's the part you get their information. Like you use their email address or phone number or whatever you want to use to retrieve their information. You use that to retrieve their information, then test to know if you are authenticating them. They provide you with some information. So you want to check if those information are valid before you sign them in. So you check if they're valid, and please always send specific error message. So don't just be like email or password is incorrect, something like that. Don't do that. Just tell them, be specific, check the email, check the password. So when the email does not match, tell them user not found or something related to the user, or maybe the email or something. And when it gets to the password, you tell them, oh yeah, your password is incorrect. So they know where the part that they are actually mistaken. If you say email or password, they'll be like, which part is not correct here? They don't know. All right, so for me, I always do that. Okay, so this is the authorization route. So when the user wants to when they want to fetch their information, they need to be authorized. You need to check that, okay, this user is who you really say, well, not authentication. You need to like get their token, use it to validate them before sending out any information. So when they want to delete the account too, of course, you don't want any random person to just come and delete any account. You want to check with their token. So you also have to authorize them. So you want to like authorize them before deleting the account. If they want to update too, you want to authorize them before updating the account. So it's only in the CRUD, what's it called? The CRUD part now. Or yeah. So you want to make sure that your read, update, and delete requires authorization. But for the create, of course, you don't need that, since they are just about to register. But then if it's something else that they want to create, maybe like a resources, of course, this user has to be on our platform before they can create your resources. You get? So let's assume they want to like upload their profile picture. They need to be authorized. Okay, I didn't do that here, but then I need to, we're going to still do this part. So if you see upload the user image, there's no authorization here. Of course, you want to authorize the user So you actually know the reason for authorization is you don't need to like put maybe a query params. You get, so you don't need a query params since you can get their information from their token. You don't need the query params. So that's it. So you get their information from the token and then you use it to like update or do whatever you want to do with the user account. If there's no token, then there's no way for you to know who is actually logging and who is actually trying to update or delete something. You won't know, except you want to start using query params. But you can do that for some other type of maybe application that you're trying to build. Of course, it's not user when it comes to user login and stuff like that. So you need to authorize the user. Okay, so I've been talking for a while now. So yeah, so this is basically the authorization part. So what we're going to be doing is, since we are issuing out the user token when the user logs in, let's go back to the user. So of course, this is the home page. And I think that home page is the sign up and login page. So this is the profile page. We are rendering the views. So this is views profile.html. For the image, of course, we might still even go over that together. So this is get one user, of course, request params ID. I don't think who did this. Well, I don't think I'm using this, so I might need to delete it. So there's this is getting the ID from the params, which we aren't doing. So we are not using it. Well, I don't really know, but I don't think we're using it. So I'm just going to get rid of it for now. So delete a user account. I've not implemented that yet. So all these guys are still coming from params. Well, what I just did now. Okay. All right. Sorry guys. I'm sorry for all this. I've done this before you guys join. So get one user. Take this off. And delete one user. So maybe when the user clicks on maybe delete accounts, we can then delete the account for them. And also don't forget, when we create the account, we also set up their profile. So I think this is for creating a user. So we went through this together the last time. See, we use Joy to validate whatever they are sending to us. So this is it: a name, email, password, and confirm password as C password. So after that, we extracted the data back from Joy. So after it validates it, it gives us back the data. So we just we get the stuff back from Joy, and then we extracted the useful parts that we need. So after that, we hash their password, and then this 10 here is for the sort round. So for the amount of time, we should like hash the password to increase maybe the strength of the password, the hash. Okay, yeah, David, you raised hand, please.
Yeah, the last time we did this, you actually used the static file, that's the HTML, to test all this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so can you, before we dive into this topic, can you just test this using Postman? Or,
of course, Insomnia.
Okay,
of course.
use Insomnia.
Yeah, still the same thing like Postman. So yeah, let's see.
Thank you.
We need to create something. Request collection. Request. Okay. So let's just call this maybe authentication. I don't know. Yeah, so we add import. Nope. Let's create request here. All right, so this could be let's say create user. So of course, we want to put our local host address here. So local host. Yeah, guys. So I was using what's it called? I was using I think Ubuntu before. So I encountered some issues with it. So I decided to move back to Windows. So this is Windows 11. just in case you're noticing maybe a new UI or something. All right, so what do we need here? Yeah, let's give it JSON body, yeah. So that's admit. So Mr. Joe is finding it difficult to join us. I don't know, maybe it's from his end. So yeah, let me go back to my code base and see the required input field. So we have name, email, and password, we see password. So the keys has to match what Joe is expecting. Name, let's call it Remolekun Elijah. So I don't think there's a check here for the user. You know, you don't want to have a user create account twice on your platform with the same email address or whatever you're using to get them. You know, when you are designing your schema, you have to have like a unique field that you are using to check if a user does not sign up twice. So we need password. So that's that part. That's where you tell the user that, okay, account already exists when they're trying to create their account. So yeah. So this is C password, I guess. Password. Okay, I think the password has to match. Yeah. That's C. I think for me it's confirm. I don't just want to write it in full. Oh yeah, the C is capital letter. Okay, so let's just hit send. Yeah, nice. Okay, so the problem is I think I'm returning the HTML page. So I'm not actually returning when you create accounts, since it's not an API, you know, an API will just respond with a JSON data that says, okay, success, account created successfully, stuff like that. So what I did was to respond with, right? Is that what's happening here? I'm coming. Okay, I think that's what is actually happening. So now click the login part. So you can just ignore this for now. Just check, when you check the status message, it says 200 for okay, which means that the account has been created successfully. So now what we need now is the email and the password. Can you guys hear me? So
I can hear you actually.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so wait, I don't know. Oh yeah, I think the problem is we creating the user accounts, we didn't change the request type to post. Well, I didn't change the request type to post, so that's why I got this stuff. Okay, so let me use post to create the account now. 404. Oh yeah, I need to check the routes. I don't think the route is the default route. So that default route is for rendering the HTML page, which is the home page. So let me just quickly go to my so for creating an account, I have user sign up. Yeah, so this is the route for creating the account. Paste it here, click send. Yeah, we get true, user created successfully. So that's cool. That's all we need from that part. So let's go to the login. Of course, the login too is also a post request. So paste this here. Now we need to get the URL. So do you actually, I can actually make like create an environment for the URL so we don't keep typing localhost and all that. Okay, so for the login is user/login. Let me just keep it simple for now. User/login. So that's what I have here for my the endpoints. So this is the URL /user/signup and /user/login. So click send. Yeah, so now we have it here. So what has actually happened is the only time we are rendering a page is for the home page. When you get to the home page, we render a sign up and a login page, right? But the rest are actually just asynchronous. So it's like interacting with an API. So you just use a JavaScript to do all those magic. So you are not actually sending any, I think, any view. So now, as you can see now, we have OK, which is true, and then we have token, which is the actual token. So what you want to grab now is just grab everything with the bearer. You have to save that somewhere, but it's fine. So we can, let's check the route that leads to the profile page. Post app.post profile. So this is it. This is the actual one that goes to the profile page. And then you see user.get profile for the handler. And then it requires an authorization. So the authorization, now we need to pass in this token. We need to send it. But sending the token, it goes straight in the header. So if the front end is going to send the token, they're going to put it in the header. So you always want to get your token from the header. So I think it's a post request. Yeah. So you go to a header. So you call this.
So, Mr. Melekun,
yeah.
We can't really hear you again.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what I said is, if you want to when you issue out a token and then you want to verify the token later on or afterward, the part to the part that you always want to get it from is from the header. So it's going to be in your request header. So of course, that's where the front end is going to put it. All right. Except maybe you guys maybe later agreed on another part, maybe passing it through the URL parameter. I don't know, but the standard is the header. So if you can see my screen, I'm in the header section here. So you call it, the name of the header is authorization, and then the value is the actual token. So in some case, you might not issue out the bearer parts and maybe just issue out only the token. But for me, I issued out the bearer and then the token together. So if you don't issue out the bearer and the token, you just issued only token, the front end is going to add bearer by themselves. So by themselves. So when you want to use the token, you need to extract the token itself out of it because it's coming with a bearer and then a space within it. So you only need the token. So you have to just do your, array or something like that. You just slice out whatever you don't need. So yes, I've placed the token here. Then I've added authorization. Then if I click send, oh yeah, the URL, of course, I need to pass that in. So I don't know if this is still the same, but let me check. So I think it's /profile. Okay. So we come back to get profile. We paste the URL there, then take off the user and they just pass in profile. Hit send. So now after hitting send, we get the user information right here. So if you can see my postman Insomnia very well, you see we get a response of 200 and then okay, it's true. And then the data is the object of the user. So we have the user ID, we have the name of the user, the email of the user, the date the user was created, and then the last time the user updated their profile or account. And then we also get the account ID and then the status, which says pending. So when you create an account for a user and then a profile, of course, you want to have them validate their email address. We've not gotten to that part yet, but then there's a need to have a way of checking if the user account is, if the user email address is validated or not. So that's why I added status here. So we have pending for now because the user account isn't validated. I mean, their email address. So after they go to their email address, then click a link that we send them. Then afterward, we validate, we confirm that yes, they've actually validated their email address. They've actually clicked the link to prove that they own the email address or they have access to it. Then we change the status to active. So then if the user tries to click the link again, we check if the user is not activated yet before trying to activate them. So if the user has been activated, we tell them they've been activated. Okay, so Mr. Samuel, thank you. So if you guys have a question, you can either raise up your hand and then I can ask you to say it. But then if you don't want to like ask me directly, you can also drop the message in the chat section. So Mr. Samuel would always be there to like answer your question real quick. Yeah, Mr. Joe, please go on with your question.
Okay, the question I want to ask is regarding the parts involving the authorization, the authentication middleware. For example, now in this example, this example where the front end is like rendered by the back end, you have showed us how to like do the authentication part. But what if in a case where, let's say, the front end is splitted from the back end, for example, something like React or something?
Okay, so yeah, I get your point now. So the back end is actually being handled by someone else or a separate team, and then the front end is being handled by a separate team, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. So in that case, right, your API standard or structure stays the same. You need them to send in a token, the token which you would issue them when they try to create an account. So the idea is you create your own API on separate domain. It could be maybe on the same domain, but a subdomain of the actual domain. So after doing that, all you have to do is just give the front end guys your URL, right? And tell them, okay, this is the path for creating a user, and these are the requirements. This is the path for logging in a user. This is the requirements, right? And then when you want to get a user profile, this is the requirements. That's why we have API documentation, yeah? So
Okay.
you don't have to like use them out to explain everything to them. So you just design maybe a landing page for your documentation. So you tell them what they need, right? In fact, you can also issue them a Postman, what's it called? Collection, whereby you just deploy your collection and have anybody be able to like see it. All right, so yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. This is exactly how you would like create it, how your API is going to look like. You just have to
Actually, I asked the question because like let's say in the case where you want to like make the behavior where if a user tries to like access the page, it takes him to like redirect him to the login. How would that be done if it's like separate like that? That's what actually I just wanted to know.
wait, you mean if the user isn't signed up, we take them to the login, and if they're signed up,
Yes.
I mean, if the user isn't signed up, you take them to the sign up page, and if the user isn't logged in and they want to log in, you take them to the login page. Or is how to like toggle between profile and the sign up page?
Yes. Like,
okay.
Is it that the back end will cause the redirects, or they will do that on the client side?
Okay, so it depends. It depends, yeah. You can have the backend do that. And of course, if it's an API, you don't want to like tamper anything with the front end. You have to do that yourself. So you just stay on your own, have your API, have all they need. So the idea is the front end can check if they have a token saved for the user, since they are the one that saved the token somewhere. They can either check if the token is saved there. So if the token is saved there, then they send the token to the API. But if the token isn't saved there, they redirect them themselves or themselves. Yeah, you get that?
Yes.
So let's assume we save into the local storage now. Before we retrieve stuff from local storage, we can retrieve the stuff and then check the stuff if it's not empty. So when we try to retrieve this stuff, if it's not empty, we know that, okay, yes, we've saved this user stuff there. So we send it to the API. When the API gives us the response, we redirect the user. So that's for front end.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, the redirect can be done from either side. It depends on maybe the agreement with the front end. You can be the one to redirect them. You can also not be the one to redirect them. So it depends on how you guys want to do it. Okay, so I hope that's clear enough.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so the reason why I'm here for you guys is if you don't understand anything, please ask so that I can clarify you guys on it. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Let's just jump straight inside this. Let's dive in. So I'm going to like take off, or let me just leave the authorization part here. Let's go straight into our authorization. So I don't know if you guys really understood everything that has happened so far in this user controller. So also, when we want to create the account, of course, we like for now, we create our ID ourselves, and then we give them the name that they give us. We put it there. We put the password there, but we don't actually put the real password. We hash it first before putting it here, before saving it. So the created and updated ads, we handle that ourselves. So new dates to ISO string, yeah, we do that ourselves. So in some case, you might have your database like get you all these things, but then you still have to define it in your schema. Okay, sorry, forgive me for that. Okay, so also then immediately we create their profile for them too. Notice for now, the profile only has their ID, the name and email. So I don't know, it depends on how you want to structure your database. You might want to just have only their email address and their password inside of the user data table or collection, and then have the rest go straight inside of the profile. But the ideal thing is the user cannot create a profile themselves. Do you get? They can't. The only thing they can do is to update their profile. Of course, when they go straight into their profile, they just want to update some things there, right? So you must have the profile created first before they can start sending update requests. So that's how, well, for me, that's how I do it. I create the profile. Yeah. Who has a question? Okay, nobody. Is someone hand been okay? Yeah, I thought someone raised their hand. So yeah, don't forget you create the user profile, you insert some basic stuff there. So one thing is there has to be a way you can use the user, some of the information from the user table to interact with their profile. So for instance, let's assume we only have access to the user token, right? So inside of that token, there has to be something we can use to get the user profile information, right? So that's the reason why I added their email here. Notice we have their email here, and we also have it inside of the user table or the user collection. So when a user makes a request, let's say they want to update their profile, what we do is we get their information. The information we issued out is only the information we have in the user table. We have their ID and then I think their email address. So let me just check that real quick. So when they sign in, we say jwt.sign ID, user ID. Okay. Well, I'm going to update this. I'm going to update this because the user ID, of course, is different from the user ID. The user account ID is different from their profile ID. UUID generates different IDs each time you call it, right? So yeah, that means we have to when we are issuing out their token, we have to also put one thing that the account collection or table and then the profile account, the profile collection or table shares in common. So they have to share something in common. So that's the thing we're going to be using to check from the account to the profile, right? So do you guys get the idea now?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Abiola, Mr. Joe, are we cool?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they have to share something in common. Think of that in I don't know if you guys are familiar with SQL, but SQL call it foreign keys or something like that. So one table is pointing to another table. Well, when we get to MongoDB, we're going to do that. I don't just want to rush us. So I want us to get the full understanding of what's going on here with CRUD, how to use CRUD first before we start talking about databases and the likes. Okay, so yeah, when they want to log in, they give us their email address and then their password. First thing we do is we check if the user exists first. So we go through all our users and try to match the provided email address with all the users' email address. So anyone that matches, we know that, okay, yeah, this is the actual user. Then we proceed from there. Afterward, we tell bcrypt, we use bcrypt to compare the password they provided and the one we hashed. We tell bcrypt to like compare them if it matches. So notice we have his password, then we check if his password. So if of course, bcrypt is going to return true or false when it's done comparing the password. So if it matches, it returns true. If it doesn't, it returns false. So in the case when it returns true, we just use JWT, JSON Web Token. Don't forget we like you can look up JSON Web Token on npm JS. So we use the JSON Web Token to sign a new token for them. And then notice what we put in there for now. It takes an object. For now, we only put the user ID. Of course, we should also get the user email address. So how can we do that? I think we just have to do user.email address. Yeah, we need to set that. Okay, so don't forget the user table and the profile table shares the same email address. So we can get the email address from the token when we like decrypt the token and then use that email address to fetch the user. Then after fetching the user, then we fetch from there, we fetch their profile information or update it. So that's it for that part. Then afterward, we send the status to them and then we give them the actual token. This is where we added the bearer part. So notice we added bearer and then we put the token there. Okay, so that is that for that. And in case we couldn't verify their password, if the password is not the same, we just say incorrect password, simple enough. Or if that profile does not match any of the ones we have, we say user not found. So that's it. All right, that's just that for that part. So let's go through the middleware first, the authorization part. So I can, of course, clear this one off. So we start afresh. First thing first, so authorization is also, it's a middleware, right? So if you want to get how or why we are using it as a middleware is because it's going to like, of course, stay as in between. It's going to be like, it's going to come after actually fetching the user information. So we put it there as a middleware. So, and the idea is if the user, don't forget, when we are issuing out the authorization token, we also set an expiry date for it. You have to like have a way to expire your token because a user cannot be logged in for life, right? Someone can hijack their system and then use their account to be like doing some operations since they are logging. Person can be like doing anything, can do anything on their profile or on their account. So you have to always tell your JWT to expire. So notice our expiry date is in 2 days. So after 2 days, the token is invalid. So when the front end makes request, we just send them a false message that, oh yeah, the token is invalid. So when they get an error message, they want to like output the message or redirect the user back to the login page so that the user can log in again and get a fresh token. So the idea of the authorization is if the token is invalid, we don't move it to the handler. It does not get to the handler. So we do all our checks here. Only if the token is valid, that's when we send it to the handler. That's it. All right, so first thing we want to bring in JWT, of course. So JWT first, we require JSON Web Token like that. So we don't have a config. So after that, now we export, well, since this is only for authorization, we just export it as default. So we just say module.export and then equal to, yeah, like that, and then like this. So yeah, don't forget in our regular handler, we've been seeing request, response, and those are just the only 2 fields we've been seeing lately. And notice here we have a next function here, like a next parameter. So this next parameter now, it's actually a function, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
yeah, I can.
Okay, so what the next function does is, whenever you call it, it's a function, right? So when you call it, of course, you want to call it as a function like this. So when you call it like this, that is when it passes like it moves the operation down to the next middleware in line. So if we have this middleware, this authorization middleware, we have it there, and then we have another middleware after it, maybe like a Malta, since Malta is a middleware. We can so when you call next, if the next middleware is Malta, it's going to like move to Malta. So when Malta 2 is done processing its stuff, it's going to move to the next middleware. So this next function is what actually allows the code to like move to the next middleware. So of course, after verifying the user, you want to call next to continue the flow. Else, if you don't call next, they are going to be stuck in authorization middleware for life. So the request is just going to keep loading, except you send maybe a response, or maybe you send a response out. That's when the browser stops loading. If not, the browser is just going to keep loading for life. That's if they are doing it like not in like if they're handling it in a way that is not asynchronous, in terms of maybe they are not handling it with JavaScript. So if they're handling with JavaScript, the request is just going to like keep running inside of the fetch mechanism or so till maybe it times out or something. So don't forget, you all have to move the user to the next middleware if you are done validating them or authorizing them. Okay, so yeah. So we also have so let's just do console.log. Want to check our request, our header. So the header is located inside of the request body, right? So we say request.headers, then well, we can actually log request.header alone to the console. So yeah, don't forget we've required this middleware inside of this place here. So this is it, require middleware / authorization. So this is the middleware folder here. So the authorization is inside of it. So we extracted it from there, and then we applied it to the necessary part. So this is displaying the profile page. Thank you. Well, we might need to modify that. So it takes some authorization before going to the profile. Okay, so yeah, authenticate the user. So this is the part app.post profile. Oh yeah, okay. So this is just rendering the profile page, of course, but this is what is actually allowing them to like get their profile information on the profile page. So we've called authorization here. So let's go to our, what's it called? Did we do console.log? Yeah, we did. So let's go to like the profile part. So this is the profile URL. Notice we have a token here. We've attached our authorization token. So if we click, it's going to keep loading because we did not call next middleware and we did not send out a response. So let's come back to our authorization. To be sure, just see it's only console.log that we did here. That's why you see that the browser is still loading till now. Like it's still loading here. So let's check our console. So this is all the things that is inside of the header. So this is all the information we have inside of header. Throwing new error route. The post requires a callback function but got objects. Well, yeah, that's that. So yeah, user agents, insomnia, authorization. Notice we have our authorization stuff inside. So this is authorization here. It contains our authorization token, and then accept, and then content length. Well, I think that's the prefix. So we take that off. So let's end this request here, please. If not, our browser is going to, the insomnia is going to like be consuming extra memory. Okay, so first of all, we want to try some things out here. So we use our try and catch block. Catch. Okay, because we know that an error can be thrown from here, maybe by JWT if the token is expired. So yes, this is what we want to do now. We say const first. Come on. Say const first. So while you are seeing all these codes here, I have GitHub Copilot installed, so it's predicting codes for me. Though these things is predicting here, I think they are valid. Yeah. if I click tab, it's going to like use all these codes and if I test it's going to be valid. But then I want to write it down myself, so I'm ignoring him or it. So token, we want to extract the token out. So request.headers.authorization, since the authorization is hiding inside of the header. So authorization, how do you spell that? So yeah, I think I didn't spell this correctly. Authorization. Yeah, I don't want to make mistakes. All right, so yeah, what's it again? Check authorization, the spelling is accurate. So now let's log console.log token like that. This takes error. So we hit the request again. We go back to our console. So yeah, now we have just the token here inside of the bearer. I mean, inside of authorization. So we want to get rid of the bearer pattern in the space. We only need this long string here. So of course, if you are good with your, what's it called, your JavaScript, you know, you want to first split and then split by space, since there's a space between both of them. So we split by space. That is going to give you an array. Well, let's confirm that. So we cancel this. We resend the request. Check now. Oh, I think I didn't save. Yeah, I didn't save. Cancel the request, send it again. Check our console now. It seems our console is, all right, since it's merging both of them together. Oh yeah, so automatically I think console is using rest operator. So if you pass in an array of objects, it's going to like, zero rest, yeah, zero rest or spread. It's going to like merge both of them
It's
together.
spread, sir.
Spread, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, spread, thank you so much. So that's what it's doing. That's why it's like joining everything back together. So now after doing this, so it's going to give us an array, right? The first index is going to be the bearer, right? So the second one is going to be our token. So now we get the token at the, it's going to be located at the one position, the one index. So the first index is 0. The next, I mean, the second is 1. So now let's do that and check our console again. So send again, check console. Well, this is not good. It seems we're still getting the same thing here, but then
There's no space on between the split.
the split, no, there's a space here. I have the space. So I just clean the space, do it again. I have it like that. Well, actually, let's do this inside of here. Don't know how I'm getting that. Yeah, why is it taking so long? Terminal, log it again. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's check now. Okay, cool. So we have just our token here. So now we can give what's it called? We can give JWT this token to verify for us. Okay, so yeah, const. Okay, I can call it const. Actually, as a matter of fact, I can override this one. So let's just call it let. So we maintain, we just reassign token to the verified part. So I think it's jwt.verify. Copilot is already doing the magic, but yeah. So verify, we give it the actual token that I want to verify and slash our secret. So we need to check. So the second parameter, as you can see here, says verify. First parameter is token, which is a string, of course. The next one is secret or public key. JWT secrets. So we are using a secret, not a public key. Exactly, it's public key though. Okay, so yeah, let's check our user. This is where we issue the token. So we copy our secrets. It has to be the same. If not, I'm going to be getting some error message there. So it's a string, right? You pass it in like that. Save it. So here, now let's log the token. All right, so log the token. So gets the token from Authorization header. Thank you. For the second one, verifies the token. Thank you. So let's check our guy here. Send the request in. Check the console. Yeah. Oh boy. Could it? Okay. Yeah. So don't forget. Lately I added the email address of the user, but it's not reflecting here. Can anyone guess why? Can anyone try? If it's no, let me hear it. Can anyone try? Hello, is anybody there? So can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm guessing nobody wants to try to guess why we are not getting the user email address here. So I'll tell you what, the reason is we changed that, we added this feature, like we added the feature of signing the user's, encrypting the user's email inside of our token. We added that feature, right? But this user's token that we're using, the user is already signed in, right? The user is already signed in before we made this implementation here. So of course, the user token stays the same. It does not change regardless of what you add to this script here. The user is already signed in. So for us to get the latest now, we have to tell the user to sign in again. So we can generate a fresh token that would also encrypt their email, right? So that's the idea. Meanwhile, don't forget this token that we are signing to the user, we are not saving it anywhere. It's not being saved on our server, unlike the session, how we use session or cookies, whereby when we save the user stuff, we put it on our server somewhere. When the user comes in, we take the cookie and then, so it's not like that. So what we just have to do here basically is just to resign this user, relog the user in. So where is that part? Login again. So the user gets a fresh token this time. Something wrong here. Okay, cancel this request. Let's log in. Login. Content type. Check this out. Okay, yeah, I think I terminated the server before, so this user does not exist again. So we create the user. Since we're not saving the information in the database, so anytime our server restarts, we just lost their stuff. Yeah, we lost the information. So now we've created the account and we log in again. We get the user token, copy this. So copy the token. When we want to get their profile now, we're passing their token fresh. This is a new token. Why is it still running? Oh yeah, okay, this is the older part. So send it again. Go back now. Notice we have their information now. We have their ID, we have their email address also. So, and I think there's a space before the actual email address. So this also tells us is there a real space there? I don't think so. So let me just quickly double check the login. There's no space for the login. Likewise, there's no space for the okay. All right, so we have to be careful here. So, okay, I think there's no space there. So yes, now we have the user email address now. So we've been able to verify, we've been able to issue a token to the user. And also we've been able to verify the user's token. Now that we have the actual user information now, we can then send, what's it called? We can then call our next function to go to the next middleware. Okay. But then you can handle your, now notice we're just testing all these things now. What about if the user token has expired? Well, let's do console.log. For the catch block, right? We'll do console.log. For here, we call it error for here. So we log in error. So one way we can actually expire this token in time is we can come here and set the expiry date to a very fast date. So we can just say 1 second, 1s. So immediately the user creates the token, it gets expired, or it expires straight up. So that's cool. So let's test this. Of course, we have to like re-register this user. So let's sign up again. User created successfully. Let's log in to have a fresh token. By now, I'm sure the token must have expired. So copy the token, go to get profile, paste the fresh token there. So send the request. Now let's check our console. You see we get a bunch of errors here. So actually we should have done error.message, but it's fine. Now notice the message of the error. So token expired error, that's the type of error. So JWT expired, that's what JWT told us, that the token has been expired. So it came straight into the false, into the catch block because it's an error. So we handled the error here. So, and you can also see expired at, we get the expiry date here as a timestamp. So this is the time the token expired. So it's fine. Actually, we can do error.message. So actually get the error message instead of a bunch of strings. So resend information, check. The message says JWT expired. So that's cool. So now, inside of this else block now, inside of this catch block, we can just send out a response. So since we have access to the request and the response object, we can use the response object to send out the message. Okay, so the status 401, I think that handles expired stuff or unauthorized, yes. So should we say unauthorized? Yeah, unauthorized. So the user does not have permission to permission to like get or access this particular route. So of course we can say message. So we say okay, false. So message. So we can construct our own message, or we could use JWT message, but it don't make sense if these messages are being displayed to the user directly. If we just send JWT expired, the user wouldn't understand what JWT is. So let's just say we can just say session expired. Session expired. Please log in again. So now let's go straight to our insomnia. Since we know that this user token is already expired, let's expect what we just implemented right here. So notice we got 401, which stands for unauthorized, and then we get okay false, session expired, please log in again. So, and the thing is, the user did not even reach our handler. They just end, the only part they got to was inside of our authorization, and that made our checks for us. So that's brilliant, right? So in this case now, if the user is valid, so guys, there's something you can just say, we can call our next function here, next, right? So if everything is fine, we just call the next function. For us to see all these things in action now, we need to log this user in again. But before then, we need to change the expiration date to 2 days, at least 2 days, so or maximum. So guys, are you still following? Do you have any question?
Yeah, following.
You just say no for now. Have any question?
Yeah, following.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go back now. So we need to like log this user in again, or yeah, we've restarted our server. So, or should we try to log in? Let's see if it would work. Of course, we've restarted our server, so we expect the user information to have been lost by now. So create the account. We log. Oh yeah, this is still processing. Log the user in now. So the only thing that's changing here is our token. So we go to get profile, paste this here now, send. So notice we've been moved to the next middleware, and we've already implemented the next middleware. So we've implemented what it's supposed to do. So inside of this now, I think we're getting undefined from somewhere. Well, we don't have to bother ourselves about that though. This could be from maybe, what's it called? Inside of our profile, the router is handling our profile or something. So this is sign up or sign in. Let's take off this sign. Let's just shrink that. For the creator user, we shrink this guy too. So hopefully we are really like we are done implementing our authorization for the user. Okay. So for this part, get profile, okay, yeah. So I did some magics here, but then slow down a bit. How is, well, we did not implement anything like res.locals.user ID, right? But then we were still able to get the user information. What's happening? So coming accounts, db.find data. Oh yeah, okay, we are not actually using the user string to find the user. All we just did here is find the user and return the user. And then from the user, we just profile.find, profile.email equal to account.email. So we did not actually implement fetching the specific user. So in the case if we have multiple users, it's just only the first user that we're going to be getting their profile information. So yeah, that gives us something like some more implementation to like add. So now the magic I want to do is set the user ID to the request object. Well, that's not it. So what we want to do now is notice from the authorization part, we've been able to get access to the user information, right? So now what we could do is we could just like attach the user email address to the request body or to the response body. So it serves as a local, well, there's something they called res.locals. So res.locals serves as a temporary or a what's it called? A local variable to a particular request, what's it called? Request object, right? Or to a particular request. Since the user sends in a request, that request is one particular request, right? So we can actually attach a variable to it from one middleware to the other middleware, right? So there's a way we can actually do that. So if don't forget, we have request.body. We are not actually the one implementing that. It's a middleware. They call it body parser middleware. It's body parser that is actually attaching that request body there for us. So without body parser, request body might be maybe empty or even undefined. So body parser is actually the one attaching that request.body information for us. So we can also do that our own self, right? We can attach a request can attach an object to our request body. But the best way to do it is using res.locals. So that's like a standard way, it's what most people do. So yeah, we just have to follow. Let's just follow the convention. Of course, we could attach it to the request object. So now let's just say attaches the user email. Should we attach the user email or the user ID? But the reason why I want to attach just the user ID is because we need the user, the user email is because we can use the user email to fetch the user account info and also the user profile information. So attaches the user email to the request to the request. So come down here, we say res.locals.user email. So we just say token.email. Well, the token has been decrypted already, so we could call it user. Well, of course, now we have to create this variable. We could call it user. So we already have the user. So let's just get the email, user.email. So doing that. So now let's also purchase the user email to request object. Well, this is not, I just want to like add it to the request. So request dot user email is not really necessary, right? I just want to do it, but it's not really necessary. So you can either use rest.locals to get user email or use request.user email, whichever way you want to do it. But notice the standard way of doing it is rest.locals. So let's get back to our user profile. Guys, please, do you have any questions so far? Hope this has not been complicating or maybe too much on you.
I want to reiterate over it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is just basically verifying or like authorizing the user. First of all, we validate or verify their JWT to actually like get the user to know if the user token isn't expired yet. So we get that. After that, we just attach their email. Well, this is not mostly, you can actually skip this part. Like you can actually skip the part of attaching the user email to the request object here. But then if you skip this part, then you still want to like do this, use JWT to like verify them inside of your user controller, because that's how you have to verify them before you can actually get their information, right? So it's just like repeating the steps you've done here in the authorization part. So I don't want us to like be verifying them there again. So that's what I'm doing it here. So verify them here, then attach. The only thing we need, is actually what we are attaching to the request object or the rest.locals object, right? Yes. Well, actually, this is not an object again. Okay, so yeah, let's just go to our user. So for the get profile, we say res.locals.user email. So we set res.locals to the user email. Now we are still using res.locals to get the email. So that's basically it. So now we don't have to call this ID. Let's call it email. Just say email. So we log the email to the console. Now let's get the user email. The user profile info. Is there some errors here? Let's see. The request has not stopped loading, but let's check. So we've gotten the user email here. Nice. This guy is still processing. What's going on here? So we getting this inside of our console means that we have passed through the authorization process. We are now inside of our get profile handler, because it's inside the get profile handler that we logged the user email and then we see it in the console. So now we know that we've passed authorization stage. So the problem we're having is inside of this get profile. So let's dock this guy. Why is it not sending the user information? So we get this account db.find data. Well, this could actually be because we've restarted the server, right? So since we made changes, we restarted the server. But then the reason why we are able to get the user information is because the JWT is still like, it still has the user information. So for you to see how powerful JWT is, we no longer have this user inside of our database again, right? So that's why we were unable to get the user information. So if we go to login again, you see that login is still going to do the same thing because we've restarted our server. Our server no longer have the user details again. So now this guy keeps loading. It's just loading and loading. Well, we should add some implementation there to check if the user email exists or if the user really exists while they're trying to fetch the user information. So now JWT is still giving us. So if I like refresh this now, well, it's no longer sending. But then if we check here, we still get the user information inside of the console. We get the user email. So JWT kept the user info inside of its own memory. It remembers the user information as long as it's not expired yet. So that's it, as long as it's not expired. So the thing is, if you delete this user now, JWT can still get the user information as long as it's not expired, because we saved this piece of data inside of JWT. right? We didn't save it in a database also. We saved it inside of JWT, but as long as we are able to verify the token given to JWT, it will still give us the user information. So now what we do is, after getting the user information, we need to check if the user really exists before proceeding, because the user might have deleted their information from our server, and then JWT is still giving us what it remembers, what is in its memory. So that's another point. So here now, inside of our get profile, we have the user information now, right? So now let's find the actual user. So account, we call our database.find. So here, actually database is the user database, right? So it's the user array, user database. So we have profile database here, and we saved DB. Well, we should actually call this maybe a user DB or user or something. Or okay, so I can just call it account DB. Sorry. Okay, so we come here now, we call account DB dot.find data. So we say data.email that is exactly equal to the user email. That's what we want to get. So for here now, instead of this place now, we can actually check. So if account, well, before we do this, if I like to like log this to the console to know if it's going to return undefined or something. So let's comment. Okay, let's leave that. So let's just hit send again. Check our console. So JWT still remembers the user email address, but then console.log account. So it couldn't find the user account. So we couldn't find the user account. So we got undefined. So we're going to work with undefined. So we say if account. So that means if the account really has something in it, that's when we want to like proceed to getting their profile information. So for this, our else statements now, we just say else. Here we just say res the status for that's for user for you know, we already know what that is not found, right? So we say then JSON, okay, false, message user account not found. Yeah, I think that should solve our problem of having this loading stuff here now. So yeah, it gets false, user not found, user account not found. So that's cool. So after JWT verifies this user information, we still check to know if the user really exists or not. So the user profile. So checks if user exists. Okay, check if the user exists. So now this guy, of course, is going to get us the user profile details, of course. So now profile database, don't forget we have it here up here, profile database. It's just basically where is it here? Well, it's inside model. It's just an empty array. So user database is an empty array, profile database is an empty array. So each time the user creates the account, that's when we push them to the database. So yeah, shrink you. I don't need you for now. Which one are we working in? So it's get profile. So yeah, I think we are done here. So of course, we know that if we're able to find the user, of course, we know that the user profile exists, because it's basically what we save inside of the profile, inside of the user account. That's also the same thing we save inside of the user profile. So of course, you yourself, you can also do, in fact, it's as if I'm doing the check here. So if the user email matches, then that's where we like profile account ID, we set the profile account ID to the account ID, and then also, yeah, and also the profile status, we set it to the account status. The reason why we're doing all these things is because we are only going to be sending the profile object out. So here now you see data, you see profile. So So it's only the profile object. So we attach any necessary things we need to attach from the profile to it. So we reply with response of okay, and then okay, true, status is 200. So yeah, everything seems fine here to me. All we just have to do is to actually like create this user again. So create the user again. So what's going on with the creation now? Is there an error? Why is it taking so long? So there's an error somewhere here. Let me make this big. Wow. Okay, so what's the error here? So DB is not defined. Yeah, that DB we renamed. I think we're using it somewhere else. Please, are you guys following?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so where's this error coming from? User.js line 82, right? G82, where's 82? Okay, this is 82 here. Okay, cool. So I think I called it account DB also. Yeah, account DB. So let's find DB. Where exactly is it? Okay, we have one DB here, another DB here, and another DB. Okay, there's DB to find here. Cool. So we're just going to change it to account DB. Right. All right, so we've solved that part. So we have to create this user again. Create, user created, thank you. So log the user in again. Yeah, we get the token, cool. So copy this token, we put in get profile stuff here. So yeah, this is it, this user token in the authorization part. So yeah, we've gotten the user information now, cool. So if for one reason or another, if this user information gets expired, of course, we're going to get that from our authorization, not our profile handler. Okay, so we've been able to do that. So cool. Now we are done with the authorization aspect. So we can also implement account updating and the likes. And don't forget, for updating an account, we need the authorization. So don't forget. So the authorization is helping us to like authorize the user, right? And then it's still giving us the user ID. Do you understand? So it's serving two purposes: authorizing the user and then giving us what we can actually use to find the user. So I think time can still allow us. So yeah, guys, sorry, please, do you have any question here?
No, I don't know for that.
What?
I said no, I don't know for that too.
Okay, okay. All right, others. Do you guys have any question, please? Mr. Abiola,
No,
Mr. Joe. All right, cool. Okay, so don't forget our authorization, we export it as default. We use module.export for it. And then inside of our index file here, we imported it. So it's not as if there's any other magic attached to it somewhere else. So we import it here directly and then we pass it as a middleware. So yeah, okay. Or we want to update the user profile, right? So app.post. So this upload picture, we're still going to go over it. So these two, they are like brothers and sisters, let them stay. So these are the guys rendering our views. So post image, we are using post image, yeah. We could use put, of course, we could use put. So we could use put. And then for uploading, we could use patch. Still the same, there's patches just for uploading or updating partial stuff. So actually we could even use patch for, well, so let's just use, should we use patch or put, guys, please? Which would you prefer?
We haven't used patch before, so I think we should try that.
Okay. So yeah, basically it's still the same thing, yeah. Still the same thing, just the idea is just for it to upload some partial information, unlike put out, like updates everything. So app.patch, profile, authorization, update profile. Yeah, I like that name, update profile. Well, what we should have done is have a separate controller file for our profile, but then we are doing everything inside of our user controller, but then it's still fine to me. So you can actually separate all these things yourself. You don't want to like get user file very bulky. You don't want to get it messy. So here now we are done with get profile, of course. So create account or create user, cool. Upload image, get one user. We don't need this one. Well, for now, I don't think we need it. So exports.update profile. Yeah, we want our async there. Well, I don't think we're even using the async for now. So const, don't forget, we have our authorization, right? So we need to get user email. So const, can call it email, or you can call it user email. So just do basically res.locals. Remember, we attached it to the request object too. So we could even, if you don't want to attach it to locals, you can attach it to the request. I think we did that too. I think it's request just user email. So anyhow you like, you can implement it. So, and the next thing we want to do is, already we know how to update, right? So profile database, I think it's profile database here. Yeah, dots. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to use find. I'm going to use find profile. Find profile, then all these array methods, yeah, they are much, So if profile dot email is equal to, well, for this, should we check the profile first? Since the profile and the user database are sharing the same thing. So that means, well, for me, normally, we need to check the user first. So let's check the account database first. Account db.find. So get profile. Let's see this get profile. So I think get profile does the same thing, right? It gets the user profile. So let's see what we can do with this. But it's a middleware. It's a middleware. It wouldn't be useful. Oh, it won't. If not, I would have said we should just, we can just basically alter it inside of here. If it's just a function, we can just, use this dot, then just say get profile, and then we'll get it. But well, it's fine. Let's implement that again. Account db.find. If profile.email, so passing profile as parameter. So say if profile.email is equal to our email, then we know that we have this user. So if it finds this user, then we can, no, this is meant to be accounts. This is meant to be accounts, sorry. It's meant to be accounts. So now we call our profile database. Actually, we can return something, yeah? So let's keep everything slim. Let's keep the code base slim. So let's take this guy off here. Yeah, export, take this guy off. Let's put this. So it exports, so just a const user. So account db.find. So account email, okay. So we check now if user, then we proceed here. So we call profile database here now. That user.find, now find the user profile. So now we know that, okay, we have this user, but in this other part, we can send res user not found, right? Yeah. So here now we say profile dot, let's just override what we have there. Profile dot, now the problem is, so what we're expecting is an object, right? If we can use, I think if we can use incoming const updated profile, JavaScript has really advanced now. So I think we can use spread, right? Can we use spread? So we'll just say profile, and then we spread this profile to match it. Would this work? Wait, is it profile or user? Oh yeah, we haven't gotten what's coming from the request body. So I think that's the part that we just spread to match what we have here. I don't know if this is going to work, request.body, yeah. I don't know if this is going to work, but then let's just say rest.send status. The status is 201 since they are updating something. So we just say 201 created. JSON, say, okay, it's true. Then data is the updated data, like that. So if there's a user, so if there's no user, basically you just want to say res dot status for account, user profile not found, no. So it's user account not found. So you never want to tell a user that their profile is not found. Don't forget. You cannot tell a user that their profile is not found. They'll be like, what is that? They don't even know that what they are doing is to their profile directly. You just want to update their account in their profile information on your site. So you don't tell them their profile is not found. You tell them their account is not found when you can't find their account or their profile. So yeah, that is that for that. So if user, okay. So if there's maybe some kind of error while trying to update the user profile, of course, you can just send fail to update your profile, and then the status code might be maybe 301 for, is it 304 or 301? I think it's 304 for not modified. Okay, yeah, quickly, let's test this. So what is the endpoint for that? What's the endpoint using this? Okay, it's patch, it's still profile. Okay, cool. So we'll create another stuff here. Say update user profile. I think we might even stop here today. Patch, right? Create. So it's basically the same URL with this guy here. Paste this here. For the body, since we don't have any specific stuff, well, we are not actually using, we are not validating what they are sending. That's bad though, but it's fine. So we can say occupation equal to, call it software engineer. Of course, I know this is not going to work. Why? Because we don't have this user. We've restarted our server, don't forget. So the user data has been lost. Session expired, please log in again. So the reason for that is because we did not pass in our token, our transaction token, don't forget. So this is coming from, what's it called? Our authorization middleware. So we want to get this user token. So put it here, pass this authorization. I'll be careful. So we send this now. So user account not found. So now this is coming from our, what's it called? Our handler. Yeah. So now let's create this user again. Log the user in. So get the user token. Get the token. Okay, now we don't even want to get the user profile. So you just want to update the profile, but it's fine. We can also get the user profile to know. Yeah, get this. Yeah, okay. So we have the user profile. And then now we can update the user account now. So try that. Yeah, did you get the updated one? Ah, okay. So we got it. He added it to the data. I did not add it to the profile. Whoa, so we have data, and then we still have profile as an object. So that's not what we want to do. So we go to this guy here. So as you can see what I have here, I have data equal to an object that also have profile as an object within it. And then the profile is what we updated is not sitting right inside of the profile. And we don't want to have much objects, just one, and then the profile information. So here now, what did we do here? So we say, okay, if user so the user was found, to get the user profile details and then update it. So here now we said, okay, this did not actually like merge these two guys together. Really, it didn't merge it together. All it just does is it spreads this guy, this request body, spreads it. How do I do this now? I don't know. I'm not actually good using this. I just wanted to try for the first time. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to work. We've restarted the server again. This is painful. Each time we need to, well, of course it's fine. You know, we can actually just add it to the request. Add it to the profile to override it. Okay, profile. Whoa. We got the profile, okay. So that means I expect user not found though. The hell? Type error, request the body is not iterable. Oh yeah, that's because we're using this. Can anybody help with this? I guess not. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to like do a lot of what's it called? Or okay, let's also spread this guy, right? So we spread both of them. I think that way this can work. So user not found, I know. So get the user information. Create the user account, log the user in, grab this token, paste it at the header. Yeah, so try to update the user account. Oh yeah, cool, so it worked. So it saves us the stress of, yeah, it saves us the stress of, writing profile.name equal to this, profile.occupation. So, okay, let's update more than one field. Let's update the name field now. Let's update the name field. So let's see if this is actually going to work. Oh yeah, okay. So call this John Doe. And software, let's change this. Oh. So let's change the occupation now to maybe a web developer. Yeah, send a request. Notice it changed everything. It changed the name and the occupation field as we modified it. So I love this idea. This is brilliant. So yeah, that's cool. This is not because we used patch. Don't forget, it's not because we used patch. Are you guys there? Can you even hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's not because we use patch. Basically, it's because we use this. This is a spread. Yeah, I think it's spread feature. Is it operator or what? It's a spread functionality. Sure. It's a feature, right?
Yeah, spread.
Yeah, it's a feature. I think, I don't know. I've forgotten the version that it's available in. But I'm not sure if it's ES6. This is not ES6, is it? This is more like some kind of maybe ES7, 8 or so. So yeah. So what we just did is we spread the profile object, and then we also spread the request object. So basically what it does is it merges both of them together. It merges all together and then it turned it to just one object. Also, you can do that for arrays. So if it's an array, you can also do the same thing for it. Just merge both of them together. So yeah, that's that for updating the user profile. So that's cool. Now we've been able to update our user profile. And then with the help of our authorization middleware, we're able to get the user email directly from there in this part here. So we use REST request.user email. That's because we made it available. Here we added it to the rest.locals. We also added it to the request.user email. So notice we got the user email from verifying their token. So after verifying the token, we get what we saved inside of the token back. So that's what we just did. We extracted stuff received there and then made do with it. So yes, for updating the profile image, actually we can delete. Of course, you know, the way we've been doing our normal deletes before, we can actually implement that there, but time will not allow us to do that. So basically I've done the update profile part. I mean, yeah, I've done that one, but the image, I've also done that image part here. So move image to public directory, of course. So we say fs.rename sync. That's we're using file system here. Notice we did const fs require fs. So we required file system. So don't forget, you can also require it. You can check it out. You can check file system out in your browser. Basically, you can just say fs and NodeJs. I don't know if that's going to take us to NodeJs documentation. So this is W3 school. You can actually go there to check what it is and how to use it. So yeah, this is it here. Read file, create file, update file, delete file, rename file. So fs the read file, there's a file called demo file. So they try to read it. Can you guys hear me? Oh, my network is not fluctuating. Okay, so yeah. So I believe you guys can hear me well. Okay, so that's cool. So you can just basically go, you can go to NodeJS, nodejs.org. I think you can find it in doc, API, LTS. Okay, so this is a file system here. Let's click file system, and there should be rename. Where is it? Child append. So there are lots of things you can do with file system. So you can basically just come here to see it. So we have rename here, and then I think there's also rename sync. That's available on using the promise promise version, fs promise. Okay, this is it here. So the first parameter takes the old part, the second parameter takes the new part. So that's basically what it does. So it renames it. The reason, okay, this renaming, you can actually use rename to move the file, right? And then you can use to rename the file entirely. So let me just go back to the code. What I did here is fs rename. I use rename sync, right? That's because I'm not using fs promise. Notice for their own, they said fs promises. Fs promises. So of course, when you are requesting fs, you can just do slash on it to get the promise version. You can just do slash promise. And notice it's already showing me here. So if I just click it, attaches it, but I'm not using that. So after doing that, fs rename sync, basically the same thing. So path.resolve request.file path. So the reason why I use path.resolve is to get it from the public directory where it is, I mean, the uploads directory. So, okay, so the idea is when you move the file, I mean, when you upload the file, it goes straight inside of, what is it called? Okay, the file is not here. I should actually create it. I mean, the folder is not here. So I need to create it. So it's called uploads, right? That's what we've been naming it since. So uploads. If you upload the image, it goes straight inside of the uploads folder. And then notice we are not inside of uploads folder now. So we are inside of controller, right? So the reason why I use path.resolve is to resolve the path directory to like the root directory. So to come here and then enter here directly and move it instead of having to do dash to go out of controller first before like appending that the main file location to it. That's why I use path.resolve. So where's the path.resolve request.file.path? So we were able to get request.file from exactly it was Malta that added it for us, because if you check in this part here, if you check where we are uploading profile image, you see we call upload a single avatar. So upload a single is coming from require. Okay, so we required you to use Malta config. That guy is straight inside of config here. Utils, yeah, Malta config. So that's Malta middleware that's doing that magic for us. So and it's also Malta that added file to the request object. So that's where our file is seated. I mean, the information about our file, that's where it's seated. So it's inside of request.files. So we got that out, and then we call path.resolve. Now what we did here is basically we renamed the file, right? But we did not change the name. All we just did is we changed the path. So you can use rename to move or to rename a file entirely. So public image, we moved it straight inside of public folder and then inside of image. And then we just did request of files.file name. So Malta also made the file name available for us. So we just moved everything to that part. Okay, so and after moving it, we said result status 201 that it has been created, and then okay, true. So now, here now, request your file or name. So don't forget, we are using Express to serve static file already. Here we did Express your static path.resolve public. So I'm using Express to serve that kind of file. So the reason why I did this is because I don't want to be appending all this stuff to it, all this path prefix to it on the front end. That's why I just added this one to it. So request the file name, it gets the file's actual name. And since we're using Express to serve the public folder as a static asset, we do not need to append the public directory here before we can get into image. And why I said that is because image is seated inside of public directory. So if I open public, you see there is image here. So the image is sitting right in the image folder is inside of public. So because we're using what's it called, Express to serve the public directory, it gives us the it allows us to like skip the public part when we're trying to get to any asset inside of public directory. And the reason why we went backward one bit is because we are inside of user controller, inside of the controller folder. So we need to go out of the controller. So we need to like move out of it one bit. So that's why we did that. So just imagine this as adding public then slash. So we got out of the controller folder, we enter inside of public and then inside of image, and then we get the file name. So this, we added the file name while we're moving it. So we just get the file name. So, but we can skip the public because Express is serving public as static file. So, all right, so that's it. That's all the things that happened here. And then if we were unable to create the image, that's if request of file is empty or so, we just said fail to upload image. And then we send the status of 304 for you to know that, okay, we did not modify anything. 304 means not modified. So yeah, that's all I did for uploading the image. But then I need to like add this image to one person's what's it called? To the specific user's profile, right? So we need to like now add that functionality. So if request the file, as if there's a file, then we rename the file, and then all we need to do is get the user profile details. So we still need to like call account database dot find account. So accounts dot email equal to email. So const account, or you say user. So if there's a user, then we proceed, else through some certain error here. So else user not found, thank you. So if we find a user, I need to pack this guy and right, okay, get this guy. So if you find a user, you put the user here. So say if a user was found, so, oh yeah, okay, cut this guy off. Cut this guy off. So cool. So if a user was found, oh God. So are you guys still following? Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yeah, yeah.
So if a user, if a user was found, we just basically say, okay, okay, so what we want to do is, okay, I need to actually check the front end to know, well, where is the views? Where is views? Views here, profile. Actually, it's not the HTML file here. So it's inside of the public JavaScript profile. Yep. So when we are fetching, then response alerts. So fetch profile. Okay, we fetch the profile. Response data, vars name, val. Profile image. Okay, response.image. Ah, okay. Did I really give them, okay, response data, response on name, email, accounts. Okay. So response on data, okay. Occupation, number, ID, account ID, image. Okay, so the user profile for image, user key for image is called image. So here I can say, okay, we need to, if we find the user, we need to iterate, we need to like get the user from the database. So we need to get the user profile from the database. So we say profile dot image equal to, so yeah, sorry, you have a question, please go ahead with it. Okay. Please, okay, so yeah, we are rounding up now. Okay. Press the status. Okay, we can just set this. All right, profile or database or find profile, we set their image. So after setting their image, I don't really know, but what we need to send out back now is the profile information, right? So for the get profile, there are some tricks I did here. So I attached their ID and I attached the status and the account ID. So it's the same thing we're going to just do here. So after that, then we have it all. So actually I call this user, right? So it should be user. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's just it right there. So now I'm moving this response here, put it inside here. And then instead of sending the image out, we just send data equal to profile. So, okay, I said equal to. Then like that. Okay, so if we find the user, updates, and then respond, else user was not found. So if the user did not even provide any image at all, we just failed to upload image. So we'll tell them failed to upload image. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's it. So that's all, but we haven't tested yet. So yeah, just 5 minutes and we're done here. So user slash upload. Okay, so we'll just take that off, paste this here, user profile. Okay, so I think it's a post request here. So you can, I'll just say you should just use, don't use a post request, just use maybe put, since we're using patch to update the user information. So switch body, yeah, fine. So multi-paths for, well, if you are using Postman, of course, by now you should know how to upload image because we've done that before. So how do we change this to file? Yes. So I just want to, I'm not sure I have any image on the system, on this OS. Oh boy. Not sure. So I'm not sure I have any image here. But then I'm sure if I upload any file, it's going to take it like that. Let me just upload this pie. Oh, we have to create the user. Okay, so create the user, get their token, paste it here, send a request, user account not found. But then the image was moved. I mean, the file was moved. So if request the file, so the problem is not coming from the file, the problem is coming from the user. Email, okay. So, oh yeah, I didn't provide or find. How do you even validate the user? I didn't validate the profile. Okay, guys. So yes, you can just go ahead and correct yours. It's just a simple logic. So just a simple logic. So you can just all right, guys. So for now, I'll say we are done here. So Mr. Ike, we've been able to complete everything that we're supposed to do. We've done the authorization. These steps that we're doing now is basically everything that you guys know right? So I believe it's something you know already because we've been doing it before. So it's just a basic CRUD operation and uploading a profile picture. So Mr. Ike, are you with us? Okay, on the find count DB. So, all right. So in the absence of Mr. Ike, I'm just going to, since we are done here, I'm just going to like end this session. But then, quick one, do you guys have any question, please? Sorry, guys, do you have any question? So I'm going to stop sharing. So do you have any question, please? So, David, it's hard to hear you. You know what's going to happen. So let's move our questions now to the Mentors web channel. I mean, the Mentors Ask a Mentors channel on our workspace on Slack, right? So we don't exceed the time too much. Yep.
I think your trumpet is on.
It's as if. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know where that's coming from.
David, can you please mute your mic if you're not really speaking? Okay, yeah. So Elijah, you can go on if you're
okay. So yeah,
speaking.
we are done here, right? We are done with everything we wanted to implement, except for the profile image that didn't go well. But you guys already know, it's just a bit of check, the logical stuff. So it's mostly what we've been doing before, right? So you guys can just go ahead and try the new things you've learned today. Try it out, and yeah.
And then for the profile image, they can while they are learning, they can also experiment with the third parties. So what did you use? What did you use for this?
We've been using Mortar so far, so that's what they're familiar with, and I'm sure they know.
Okay, we're using Mortar. Okay, that's
they've
good.
been using it so
all
far.
Right, all right. Okay. That's good. No problem.
Okay, guys. So in the absence of any question for now, we can just close here, right? So Mr. Ike, please take over.
No, Remy, you're actually the host, so you can just end the class. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
For everyone, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Let's meet
All right.
Slack.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yeah.